Welcome to another crochet tutorial with Cozy Rosy UK. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can make your very own chevron mug rug. As you can see, this is a really bold and bright pattern that's going to be great to catch any condensation from your cold drinks and any drips from those hot drinks on any of your surfaces. So before we get started, don't forget to hit that notification bell and of course the subscribe button so that you never miss out on another one of our crochet tutorials again. So the materials we're going to need to make our crochet coaster is as many colours as you want, but I'm going to be using 3 colours of Aran weight or worsted weight 100% cotton. I'm using this Paintbox cotton Aran in 2 new shades and one of my favourites. So the first shade I'm using is Rosy Pink, which is shade number 662. And then we have another new shade from them, which is Dusty Rose 642. I really like this new colour. And then we have Tea Rose. Inadvertently, they all have the word rose or rosy in them, but there you go. So grab as many colours as you want. In the previous version that I made, I used some different colours. I did use this one and this one, but I'm trying out this new colour today as well. So to make this pattern, we're going to be using a 4mm crochet hook. Even though this yarn does suggest that we use a 4.5mm, we're going down a hook size so that we can just make it a little bit firmer so it's going to sit nicely to support our drinks. What I would say is, with regards to choosing your materials, you can make this with 100% acrylic, but if you're using it to prevent watermarks on your tables, acrylic yarn is not does not absorb water, so it will just mean the water will bead on top of the fabric. So if you are looking for it to catch those condensation drips from your cold drinks or those little drips that come from your hot drinks, cotton is the way to go. So once you have your materials, we're going to start by making a slip knot and placing that on our hook, and then we're going to make a chain of 25. So the multiple for this pattern is 6 plus 1 for the foundation chain. So we're going to make a chain of 25. That's 1, 2, 3, and keep going all the way up till you have a chain of 25. And 25. So it is entirely up to you which way you work in your chain. You can flip it over and work into these back bumps. I'm just going to go underneath that first loop because we're going to add on our fringing at the end, so we can work that into our chain as well. So we're going to work firstly into the second chain from hook. Remembering that this loop does not count. That's our first chain that we can't work into. So we're going to just go underneath that top loop of the first chain, yarn over, bring a loop up and pull through 2 for our US single crochet, a UK double crochet. We're then going to single crochet into the next 2 chains. That's number 2. Before we go into starting the chevron pattern. So the first thing we're going to do is to create our first peak, and to do that we work 3 single crochets or 3 UK double crochets into the next chain. 2 and number 3. So literally all 3 into the same chain, and then we single crochet or UK double crochet into the next 2 chains. We're then going to create the trough, as I call it, or the lower peak, by working a single crochet 3 together or a UK double crochet 3 together. This is actually a modified version of that decrease stitch because we're going to make sure that our coaster can be laid either way, and we don't want to see when we do them on the other colours, don't want to see any of the colour changes. So the way that we're going to do this is we insert our hook into the next stitch, chain, yarn over and bring a loop up, yarn over and pull through that first loop on our hook. We then insert our hook into the next chain, bring our loop up, yarn over and pull through that first loop, then into the third chain along, we insert the hook, yarn over, bring a loop up and pull through all 4 loops on our hook. After that, the next step we're going to work is a further 1 single crochet into the next 2 chains. And then we're going to work our peak again by working 3 single crochets into the next chain. Once we've done those 3 single crochets into that same chain, we single crochet into the next 2 chains. That's 1 and 2, before repeating that single crochet 3 together. So we yarn over, bring a loop up, and just pull through that first loop on our hook, insert the hook into the next chain, yarn over, bring a loop up, yarn over, pull through the first loop, and then we insert the hook into the last of the 3 chains, bring a loop up and pull through all 4 loops on our hook. We then single crochet into the next 2 chains, which should leave us, she says, with 5 chains to work in. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Fabulous, it's worked. So the first thing we're going to do is work our peak by working 3 single crochets into the next chain, and 3, and then we're going to single crochet into the next 2 chains, and then finally across these last 2 remaining chains we're going to work a single crochet 2 together. So we insert the hook, yarn over to bring a loop up, insert the hook into the next chain, yarn over, bring a 3rd loop up, then yarn over to pull through all 3 loops. And that completes row 1. Moving on to row 2, we're going to chain 1 and turn our work, and then we're going to start by skipping this first stitch underneath our chain, so we just don't work in there at all. We insert a hook underneath the next stitch and work 1 single crochet. We then work 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, so that's 1 and 2, and now we're working into that middle stitch of those 3 single crochets we worked into the previous row. So we work 3 single crochets into that middle stitch of the cluster, before working 2 single crochets, well, 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. We then want to work that single crochet 3 together, or UK double crochet 3 together, the slightly modified version. So we insert the hook into the next stitch, yarn over, bring a loop up, yarn over and pull through the first loop. Insert the hook into the next stitch, yarn over, bring a 3rd loop up, yarn over, pull through the first loop. Then into that 3rd stitch, we insert the hook, yarn over. We should have 4 loops on our hook, so we can yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. We then single crochet into the next 2 stitches, before working 3 single crochets into the next stitch. Don't know if you just heard my dog snoring. She always does that to me when I'm recording. So we've done those 3 single crochets into the next stitch before going on to working 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. And we're back. You can see that we've got a bit of a trough here. So we're going to work our single crochet 3 together. So we insert the hook into the first stitch, yarn over, bring a loop up, yarn over, pull through that first loop, insert our hook into the next stitch, yarn over, bring a loop up, and just pull through that first loop on our hook. And we insert our hook into the 3rd stitch, yarn over, bring our 4th loop up before we yarn over and pull through all 4 loops. single crochet into the next 2 stitches, and then we're going to work 3 single crochets into the next stitch. We then single crochet into the next 2 stitches, and then across those last 2 remaining stitches we're going to work a single crochet 2 together. So we insert the hook, bring up our loop, insert our hook into the next or final stitch, yarn over, bring a 3rd loop up, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops. So this is the end of row 2, and I'm going to be changing colours every 2 rows. So all our colour changes are going to be on this side. So while I find, hopefully, now as you can see, I'm trying to pull from the bottom of the ball to locate the end. Oh, that was pretty easy. And there it is. So that's my little top tip. If you ever want to pull from a middle of a ball, the label should always be, you should be able to read the label. So I'm going to change to this other shade, which I think was, yes, Dusty Rose. And very simply, just going to put a loop of the yarn over my hook and bring that through. While I'm gripping that in one hand, I'm going to use my fingers to pull down on the original colour. And then make sure I've got the working yarn in my hand, pinch those 2 ends, pull down to shorten the loop, and chain 1. I'm going to adjust all of this, make sure everything's nice and tight, because to save us weaving in, we're going to work over these ends at the same time, going into row 3. So we skip that first stitch, and then we single crochet into the next. We then start our pattern repeat, where we work 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, and then we work 3 single crochets into the next. All the while I'm working over these tails so that I don't have to weave them in. So then we work 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches before working our single crochet 3 together. So this is where you can really see why the modified version of this stitch really makes a difference. So we insert the hook, yarn over, bring a loop up, yarn over and pull through that first loop, insert the hook into the next stitch, yarn over, bring a loop up, yarn over, pull through that first loop again, and then, sorry, she's going mad at a dog out the window. And then finally insert the hook into the 3rd loop, and then we can pull through all 4 loops, and that completes. Oh, I've caught the tail. There we go. So as you can see on the other side of the project, although it creates a decreased stitch, because we've worked and done half of the stitch each time, you can't see the colour change. The alternative is a lot more obvious, I promise. So we can just continue with our pattern repeat by working 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches. Oops, there we go. And then we work 3 single crochets into the next stitch. 1, 2, and 3. 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, and we're back to doing our modified single crochet 3 together. So we insert, bring up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first, insert, bring up a loop, yarn over, pull through the first, insert, yarn over. We've got those lovely 4 loops on our hook. We're going to pull through all 4 loops to complete that stitch. 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, and then we work 3 single crochets into the next. 1, 2, and 3. We single crochet into one single crochet into the next 2 stitches, and then finally to end the row we work a single crochet 2 together. So we yarn over, bring up a loop, insert the hook into the next stitch, yarn over, bring up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops on our hook. So this is the pattern that we're going to repeat for every single row until our pattern is complete. I am going to change colours every 2 rows. So after I've done these 2, I'm going to change to my 3rd colour, and then we're going to repeat that all the way up. So as you can see, we've done 1, 2, 3 and an extra row just to balance out the colours. So go ahead and continue to work as many rows as well. Continue to work the number of rows. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 and 20 rows all together. So work a total of 20 rows, and then come back and we will do our fringing and add that on to our coaster. If you'd like to view the written pattern, you can do that as well. So you can follow along with the colour changes that I've used by visiting the blog post that's linked below for you in the description box. You can also find there where to purchase the printable pattern as well, if you want to follow along with that. So I will join you back when you've completed all 20 rows. Then we're going to weave in those ends and add on our fringe. So once you've completed all of your rows, you can trim off the excess strands from working those colours in and all those colour changes. And then we're going to add our fringing. I've got some top tips for you as well. So as you can see, I've got a clear plastic tub because we don't want to make our fringe super tiny because it's just too fiddly to work with. So we're going to make a total of 42 lengths of about 5 inches. So what I'm going to do is wrap my yarn around this tub 42 times so that I've got all the lengths that I need. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So obviously I've already done some of my fringing, so I haven't done all of the strands. But what I'm going to do is snip off the working yarn, and while it's still on the container, just go underneath and snip all the strands. And like magic, they are all the same length. So you don't have to, I mean, gone are the days where I would literally measure and kind of assume, because they all ended up as different lengths and it got a little bit frustrating. So for each of the peaks and the troughs, we're going to place 3 strands of our cotton. So I kind of pinch it in the middle and put my finger on there. And then with our coaster, we're going to insert the hook in the peak of the coaster, like so. Put our hook, and then I'm literally just grabbing this with my hand and then bringing all 3 strands through at the same time, she says. There we go. So you create a little loop on that end. If you're really fancy, you can then use your hook to flip them through, but I'm not that good. So just kind of feed them through, feed all the ends through at the same time through that loop, and then you just pull to tighten. Now I've made a mistake here because all of my other fringings are facing that way. So it is important to note which way you're inserting your hook. You see, I like to do these things so you can get it right first time. So I'm going to insert my hook the other way, place my loops over my hook for my fringe, making sure I've got all 3 strands, bring it through that stitch, make the loop a bit bigger so I can grab those ends, and there we go. Just pull gently and it will tighten those ends and we create our fringing. You can see I've already trimmed these to the length I want. We do that with each and every peak and trough. So you need 3 strands for each peak or trough. Kind of make them so they're kind of halfway across your finger. Make sure that you've got your, is that going to work? No, it's the other way. There we go. Insert kind of roughly into that middle stitch pop your loops over, bring your hook through, and then pull all the ends at the same time through, and then you just pull on the ends to tighten the fringe. Once you've done all of your strands, you can simply just grab your scissors and snip at the kind of length you want them to be. So mine are about 1 inch long. It's not the best angle to do this. I normally place something on to put some weight on and just literally go along and cut the length that you want and take those ends away. I'm going to make this one look longer, but it's just further down. There we go. And you can repeat that the whole way along to complete your fringing. Now, if they go a bit wibbly wobbly like mine have here, you can lightly steam them, either by waving them in front of the iron, or you can just wet them and kind of smooth them down into the position you want. But these new ones have worked out quite straight. And it is as simple as that to complete your very own chevron crochet coaster. Thank you so much for joining me for this crochet tutorial. I look forward to seeing you again very soon. Make sure you've hit that subscribe button and of course the notification bell so that you never miss out on another one of my crochet tutorials again.